Okay, interesting. I wasn't live on Restream, which is what connects to YouTube, X, and Facebook. So my apologies to those of you who are on the Restream channel. Okay. Okay, yep, it looks like I'm being heard on the laptop. So apologies for that. So for those of you who are coming on YouTube, X, or Facebook, welcome. Well done. And a sincere congratulations for raising your hand and stepping forward, investing your personal time and energy into Planetary liberation, make it so much quicker, so much smoother, whilst also maximizing your impact and soul mission potential. Again, if you're new, this is where you'll want to expand your mental consciousness paradigm. Okay, here we go. This is a critical intervention into, at a minimum, softening the target, if you will, for this huge push that's occurring throughout July to really finally have the light reach source energy and her rules reach the surface of the planet for that energetic transformation which inevitably transforms life. Hopefully, pardon me, by the end of July, it could be early or mid-August, we'll see how successful we are. It's all about finding the right thing, identifying the right thing to address, to transmute and remove. So let's really expand our minds, drop all expectations at the same time to approach things with that blank mental state, because our intent is very clear. Now really let go of your mind, really expand your consciousness horizons beyond your current spiritual paradigm. As you begin to breathe in deeply and slowly through your nose, and sort of go deeper into the now and escape the matrix and align with your higher self and soul's psychic feed by going deeper into the now, ironically through detachment, really detaching, as if you don't care, from the rational mind's perspective, that is. But don't worry, your heart, your soul, higher self knows exactly what it's doing. So just relax. Step outside of linear time to align with your soul's purpose and task in this intervention that's unique to you. And really Step outside of linear time to escape the matrix by forgetting about linear time, really being the now. As you breathe in deeply and slowly through the nose, as we all do that together. And don't even ask or expect for things to go perfectly. Sometimes it takes a while to sort of really get into it. Happens to the best of us. So let go. As you breathe in deeply and slowly through your nose, all together, which effectively begins this mass meditation of June 29th, full moon, 2026. I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes as we align our energies and step outside of linear time, partly by forgetting about it. Letting go of any thoughts, any emotions, any beliefs. Just letting go. For more ease through detachment. As you continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Just continue to breathe. Feel the air passing through and out of your nostrils as you breathe in deeply and slowly through your nose. Nice and deep. Let go. Escape the box, the little box, the trap called linear time by going even deeper into the now, even more detached. As you prepare to show that you walked the talk and was one of those brave volunteers that honored your whole truth and purpose in being here, your highest purpose, and fulfilling it, earning the respect, admiration, quite literally, as you continue to breathe deeply and slowly through your nose, detaching. As you call in your guides, if you consciously work with any, and call in your high self. Well done, everybody. Now, if you're new, we're going up and taking Gaia with us to what's called Beyond the Multiverses, to overseers of multiverses, very primordial beings, working on behalf of Source, and to multiply the power and impact of this mass meditation by a good 100 times, and also helping your frequency to get really boosted as well. Now engage the non-linear right hemisphere of your brain through the means that this matrix has hidden it within the word imagination. There's no such thing, in other words. Be the consciousness that you truly are. Exercise it. That's what it's there for. By seeing yourself in a gigantic, translucent, silver crystal ball. Now remember, the right hemisphere of your brain, when directed right by your consciousness, is 1,000 times faster than your left hemisphere rational mind. So it's all instantaneous in terms of what you see. As always, faint images work just as well. Just ask any remote viewer. And see yourself facing inward towards the center, closer to the equator, on the inside of this crystal ball. And you look all around at the golden light bodies of all the other 144K members on this sacred moment and intervention, on this call, in other words. Now let's call in Gaia. If you're a goddess with a special relationship and connection to Gaia, you can call her in your own way. Otherwise, just follow along mentally. Authentic Gaia, authentic Gaia. We call upon the one true authentic goddess Gaia. Now see her in the middle. Adore her white polar ice caps, white clouds over the blue oceans. Authentic Gaia, can we please have your permission to take you up with us to massive levels of power for more direct intervention? To free you and all of us far more quicker and far more gentler. All right. Nice. And now we start to move up through
the layers of this universe, which certainly includes any false realities, membranes, overlays, whatever remaining AI constructs may be remaining within the surface of this planet. And just allow yourself to see, moving on the outside of the crystal ball, through, you can see it through the translucent walls of the crystal ball, just white glowing horizontal lines, layers, moving rapidly from top to bottom of the crystal ball on the outside. And then we start to race up through any false realities, membranes, overlays, constructs, whatever's left. So it's not just dimensions and densities. And for you veterans, feel that familiar, comforting, therapeutic, soothing, centering, soft flickering of light. That you can see through the translucent walls of the crystal ball, Gaia in the middle. Just do your best to stay in the right hemisphere of your brain where the rules are different. Through so-called imagination, which is fundamentally the highest form of consciousness. As we rapidly approach that last thick outer boundary of this universe, look all around, look at Gaia. Just have that completely detached, non-trying, internal focus. Look at Gaia. Look at the next few 144K members. The flickering light on the walls of the crystal ball in the background. And of course, going to where we're going provides much more stability and protection as well. And then all of a sudden, the soft flickering light stops. And it's bright white as we reach and push through that last thick outer boundary of this universe. So you can barely see Gaia in the middle. And we're through. You see a big ball of light that is the universe that we just left, rapidly shrinking into a small ball of light, and you see what seems to be an endless ocean of other small balls of light. That is this part of the multiverse as we rise above the multiverse. And that all shrinks into another ball of light, and we see another whole big ocean of other small balls of light. That is the neighboring multiverses. And that all shrinks. Glance at Gaia. Glance at your guides if you have them, as I quickly finish up with some protocols. Otherwise, just look at Gaia. Authentic hide, authentic hide. We call upon the one true authentic light beings that hide. Please make sure we go to you when no one else true hide. And you look up and you look through the roof of the crystal ball. And you see a point of white light. Getting way up, far away, getting bigger and bigger and brighter, and then it gets really big, and the whole roof of the crystal ball now lights up. And we reach it, and we come to a sudden yet somehow gentle stop. And we gently and slowly, lovingly, move through this platform of light. As it gently and lovingly sort of envelops the crystal ball, and we move through, and it begins to close up at the bottom, converging at the bottom, and opens up at the top. And we start to rise up above this platform of light. And in case for anyone who's new, this is real, because consciousness is king. We have now escaped this fake simulation of a reality that your physical body is in. We rise above. And the whiteness sort of shrinks at the bottom. We form a straight line behind and a little above Gaia. Again, if you're new, do all this without thinking. Visualize things before your left hemisphere brain even has a chance to think. Because that's the way psychic work works. So don't think. Step outside of thinking to free yourself from the left hemisphere brain and linear time, for that matter. That's the so-called secret. You can do it. Here we are standing in solidarity, in unity. Now the crystal ball from the very top center begins to peel open. It does this slowly to allow for a frequency decompression because of how dense it is here on the surface, to allow you to breathe it in better. And remember to breathe in through your nose. Stay in the now. It's kind of like your protector. As it goes down, all the way down, past Gaia, and it sort of shrinks, it converges in and of itself, in on itself at the bottom. And now let's establish your connection with these very translucent light beings. There's a central sun of source sort of in the middle of them. Very translucent. They kind of merge together a little bit. And as always, as your veterans know, increase your frequency by simply connecting with them by feeling their unique energy signature for a minute or two. Authentic Hod, can you please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel you to an undeniable, unmistakable physical level? And somewhere in the background of your consciousness, just pay a little attention for that soft, little, subtle pulse in your thalamus area, where a lot of our higher senses are. If you're not as sensitive, that is, their unique energy. And because anything that's far away up in terms of density, the further something is in terms of density, the more subtle their energy. So you just got to be really in the now, detach, pay attention. Just be present in the now. And just being with them really helps your auric field. Deeply and slowly through your nose. And don't try, detach, be in the now. Be really present. It's more about receiving, like the silent witness. Deeply and slowly through your nose. Escape the matrix of being in the now, and then deeper into the now. Authentic God, send us a massive wave of your energy into our hearts. Let's move into the heart. Engage the heart. Breathe and just keep on looking at them. If you can only see one of them at a time, totally fine. And have a little bit of background consciousness on the center of your chest or solar plexus or sternum. Okay. It's okay if you didn't feel anything. It's like being at the office. You have good days at the office and bad days at the office. Totally fine. But when the energies are so up and so intense as they are now, there's this innermost layer of the quantum anomaly and scalar waves throughout that 30 meter thick layer of darkness throughout the surface, being in its last throes. The intensities can be a little much, and it takes a little longer to sort of really get into it. I remember years ago when we shut down that quantum black stone in the Urim base in the Dome under Urim, which is the Israeli military base. We couldn't get to it. The resistance was so bad that we couldn't get to it and didn't see it until the very last minute. And we shut it down, and Cobra then reported, I think it was days later, that the black stone in the Urim base has already been shut down, lo and behold. So it's okay. For a lot of us, it's sole purpose directed. Sometimes your unique soul purpose and unique soul abilities isn't tasked or scheduled to make a particular move until the last minute sometimes. Other times, the first minute. Depends on what your soul mission and pre-assigned task is within the broader context of such 144K interventions. Of course, you veterans are familiar with this. Okay. Shift a bit of a glance towards Gaia. And your guides if you have them. And in about 30 seconds, you'll be repeating after me to call in your higher aspects, good and proper. Otherwise, just observe this spectacle. I call upon the infinite army, the authentic, organic Gamalgam of the Oberon lineage. I call upon the elders of the Gamalgam. I call upon the team of beings that created this universe and the unique phenomena that's unique to this universe, known as physicality, as the ultimate plan to corral all dark and misaligned energies and consciousness back to the light, to realign with source that presents itself as one man in this model called Oberon. Seeing him as a golden being. Over on the other side of Gaia, wherever it suits you. Authentic. Repeat after me, everybody. Really detach here, as if you don't care, from the rational mind perspective. Repeat after me. I call upon all of my higher density levels, higher self. See him or her next to Oberon, perhaps, wherever it suits you. Be the god and goddess that you intrinsically and truly are. Now's a good time for that. Repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my authentic soul and see like a bright star up above the HOD, the otherwise known as overseers of multiverses. Repeat after me. I call upon my authentic oversoul and see a bigger ball of light of a different color to make it easier emerge from behind your soul. And repeat after me. I call upon my authentic I am, my true, organic, source derived, I am presence. Authentic Legion of Light, here we are, the 144K. There is Gaia. Take us to the space and place of omnipresence. Take a glance at Gaia, the blue oceans, the white clouds, the North Pole, etc. And all of a sudden, there's the bright white light that acts as kind of like it's essentially a portal, a frequency transporter, and it's really bright. You have to squint your eyes. It's so bright. Remember, inner reality always comes first and always produces outer reality. You all know that. If you're not a 144K veteran, then you're most likely still a veteran of metaphysics. As you can barely see Gaia in the middle now, very faint, and then all of a sudden the bright white light disappears. And everything looks the same. Authentic Legion of Light, please place Gaia in a quarantine sphere. It's things, especially if the astral plane and the physical planes are the last ones that need clearing. Yeah, it'll be the loudest resistance. That's why they're born to detach through the now. Free your mind through imagination, the highest form of consciousness, and allow your soul over soul I am to just come through by stepping aside through detachment. So the energies are up because we've just passed the full moon peak. Perfect. Okay. Now, to really express your soul mission your truth, your sole purpose, and to make sure you fulfill it. To ensure that your existence here on this planet, since at least Atlantis, for most of us, is not a waste. Believe me, there's a place you don't want to be. Express. Look at the HOD, your higher self. One by one if you need to. Your soul love, soul I am. Casually. Go beyond the subjective mind with its limited reference points. Go beyond the current level of consciousness. This is where you show. For most of you, it'll be basic information on clearing the innermost layer of the quantum anomaly from the surface 30 meters up, the scalar wave technologies within it, distorting reality through deception, illusions, lies, making life much harder than what it needs to be. Look up at them and repeat after me. Fulfill my high soul potential. And you can say that again and again if you want. Because I would like one of you, actually some of you, if you had any, shall we say, unpleasant experiences, in other words, interference, over the past 24 hours, show that. It's really important to show that. Any visions that you may have gotten, no matter how faint they were, because for 90% of us, this was the astral plane, the darkness, the scalar waves, AI-generated entities, magicians from the astral plane, trying to prevent you from participating, from clearing the astral plane, because the time has come to clear this 30-meter thick layer of darkness along the surface on the astral plane. It's part of our preparation to have it completely cleared on the physical plane in July. It's a massive opportunity. And it's been said that the astral plane is kind of like the closest frequency to the physical plane. So show this just a little bit. You don't have to fully relive it vividly or anything like that. Have the teams at a minimum, the HOD and your I am, either visually in front of you or in the background of your consciousness, and show this. And just say, see them there. And just say, see this, feel this. Just like in the internal healing tools. the 144K guided audios. And be really present with them so that your communication can get past the noise within your auric field for them to be able to receive it. It's always through detachment. It's the most powerful way to start such mass meditations. Remember to breathe deeply and slowly through your nose as you express what this massive light beings, massive levels of light do, seize it and come through it like a conduit, an access point. Done in a subtle way. So nice and gently through presence. Be really present with it. Don't worry about getting it perfect. It doesn't work. It can all be done in, they can access it all in a second. It's just prudent to be a little thorough. Given the scope of this epic situation, that all that is quite literally focused on in a situation, even if it seems mundane, was it right? It doesn't have to be emotion. Were you denied or prevented from doing something simple that you had planned to do, but it just didn't happen? You thought it wasn't going to be an issue, and it just didn't happen. Even if it was a simple, straightforward task. Even something like that. This is all, on this occasion, mostly astral interference, and the teams need to get in there, as they're all already scanning the situation. And this really does help you embrace love at a whole new level as you do something like this. Which is profound and a necessary part of planetary liberation. And if you're new, to get to the root of a problem, showing the teams stuff like this in a way that they can receive through the noise of our auric fields, that's the real secret source to the best form of energy work and healing and liberation. Black magicians on the astral plane, in one of those tiny little worlds, bubbles kind of thing. Interfering a few hours ago. I'm showing them that. Okay, well done. All right, they're saying, yep, go ahead. Drain the swamp first on the astral with the heaviest concentration of garbage. It's not just quantum anomaly and dark energy and dark matter. All sorts of dark characters within tiny little worlds for the most part, although in one respect size doesn't matter. Floating about. On that predominantly, but not completely, on that 30-meter thick hell layer or layer of darkness from the surface up on the astral plane. The teams surround us. Pick a comfortable sort of visual panoramic visual of Gaia in the middle in the quarantine sphere. And the teams in the background, I always prefer two of the HOD in the background on either side as they surround us, and the I am, if you can include it, over soul and soul, directly opposite you, your energetic vantage point. You can include your higher self and Oberon on the other side of Gaia, feel free to do so, but the HOD and your I am is enough. Alrighty. Now look at Gaia and pick that single monotone holographic color that represents omnipresence, but throughout the astral plane. Could be green, whatever, blue, crimson, magenta, whatever. All in the foreground, a little below us, to have a clear view of the teams that you've placed in the background. To really feel them through the heart. Anyone struggling, really do adapt or adopt that free, limitless attitude of a child, because that's more akin to our true nature of our consciousness. Before the Matrix started altering it, later in our childhood, let alone teens. It's incredibly powerful. And now, repeat after me. Authentic I am presence over soul and soul. Higher self. Authentic HOD and source. From the space of omnipresence. Scan the entirety of what I have shown you. Scan the entirety of the highest potential of my soul purpose and its abilities. And present the entirety of all darkness and dark technologies and infrastructure throughout the astral plane of Gaia of this June 29th full moon. Let's light things up. With special focus to any remaining underpinnings of this innermost layer of darkness. That's about 30 meters thick. From the surface up. of the astral plane. Clear the lot. Now, before you get a chance to even think, look at that single monotone holographic color that represents all these levels and frequencies and densities of the astral plane. The concentration of it is within the 30-meter height from the surface up. And you'll see it there even as you set the intent to glance at it. And chances are it'll, right now, before we start cleaning it up, it'll look like a black sack of swamp. And throughout this whole process, try to maintain some sort of a bit of a visual of at least two of the teams in the background. And you can decide, as always, on what color you want the background color of the quarantine sphere to be. Change that as you want. I usually prefer to start off with white because it contrasts the black. Okay, they're asking, there's a bit there. It's quite a swamp. So we're going to start off with the I am behemoth method. If you're new, you're in for a treat. All right. Look at your soul over soul and I am at the far opposite, directly opposite you. Bring forth your I am presence. So you simply see the big ball of light of your I am sort of come forward where you can't see your over soul and soul. Bring it forward to just above Gaia, actually a bit of a distance above Gaia. So you can only really see the bottom end. And once again, we're concentrating because there's so much to clean up that this is the quickest way I've been able to find. Okay, she's feeling it already. Anyway. We focus. This is arguably unprecedented, focused concentration in one spot of our collective I am. And now, and you'll never really see more than the bottom edge of this massive ball of light, the bottom edge, shining rays of light of our collective I am. Still a considerable distance above Gaia. And as you veterans know, we gently, oh so slightly, lower it towards the North Pole of the first, second, third, and fourth density of the astral plane. As always, the heaviest concentration of garbage is within that 30-meter thickness from the surface up. And lower it slightly. It'll never need to touch Gaia at all, not even an outer field, because the outer field of our concentrated collective I am is beyond comprehension. And that is what it is. And just have that little glance at the North Pole and you see within the atmosphere, you start to see that perturbation of those outward emanating ruffling of energy, like the old analogy of dropping that pebble on the surface, the still surface of a pond. And it starts to emanate outwards. Make sure you stay outside the quarantine sphere, that you can make your color of your choice. Remember, you do literally exercise God-like powers when projecting consciousness from the physical to the non-physical. In a way that non-physicals on said planes, non-physical planes, basically can't. That's the underlying reason why we're on the physical. And inwards we go. And now you start to see it initially starts off as a kind of tension in a way, as you start to see an intense, bright, constantly flashing transmutational white light just from the outer fields of our collective I am begin to come through. And again, if you've had any unpleasant experiences over the past 24 hours, here's your chance being presented for you to rectify that, let's just say, to keep the language polite, because we're spiritual people, we don't swear. I sort of, I don't know, see it, but kind of feel it in a way, but not too much. Stay outside the quarantine sphere. Because it makes it much harder for them to track. And the white light, which is like 1,500,000 ton, the source version of 500 megaton nuclear bombs going off constantly, which is always an off the charts phenomena that is real. Begin to really head towards the surface, sort of expand, turning into that concave, like a shape of a bowl kind of thing, as the white light dissolves. As I'm seeing those rather unpleasant horizontal grid layers of horizontal rods that are extremely high tech, almost like magic, getting dissolved. It's made life kind of unpleasant on the astral plane. First, second, third, fourth densities of the astral plane. That's the primary focus. And downwards we go. As it expands, we're sort of covering most of the North Pole. And you can, at this point, allow yourself to see whatever, usually it's some sort of a basic shape, whether it's a cube, spheres, rods, maybe pyramids or those cone type pyramids where it's round. The highest tech are often the most basic shape, typically. And down, and when you start to see the surface, it'll present itself. Again, astral plane, first, second, third, fourth densities. Just hold that intent. The surface will show itself as a stunning, very noticeably feminine, holographic baby blue color when we reach the surface. So look down in the middle of this, expanding concave sort of walls of white light that are transmuting like nobody's business. And then deep in the middle, again, like looking down at a crater of a volcano top. Down in the middle, you start to see the baby blue of a clear, liberated astral plane. First, second, third, fourth densities. And believe me, there's all sorts of civilizations basically usually within little spherical bubbles where there's worlds or a whole universe within atoms. I mean, that's white hat information just on the physical plane, let alone the astral plane. This is why we work from omnipresence. Otherwise, good luck. Unless you have 1 million people mass meditating at the same time, then sure, you can make headway. And expand outwards. Again, you veterans are familiar with this by now. Expand. See the baby blue of a liberated first, second, third, and fourth density of the astral plane. Okay, good. And move it out. Stay outside the quarantine sphere and see, they begin to look like sloped walls of mass transmutational light pushing through the blackness and heading towards the shores of the North Pole already, going down through Greenland, and see the baby blue obviously beginning to get birth and expand in the wake of the expanding mass transmutational walls of flashing white light. And take the occasional zoom out, if you will, to see the bottom edge of this massive ball of white light up above at a considerable distance still, up above Gaia. That is our collective concentrated I am. We're racing down Greenland, well into Canada, past Anchorage in Alaska, well into northern Siberia. And now we're clearing the infrastructure, layers of it. We're clearing worlds, wormholes, etc. And so you can, at this point, allow yourself to have that occasional glimpse of said infrastructure and worlds, again, whether it's spheres, whether it's cubes. There's vertical, horizontal rods And it really is a case of sort of size doesn't matter, this sort of thing. And sort of meditate on that, if you will, as we continue to move downward throughout, holding the intent on first, second, third, and fourth densities of the astral plane. In case you're new, you can take a toilet break, bathroom break anytime you want. Just hold a bit of a brief visual as you do that. Omnipresence helps us clear 4 densities on the astral at once. Thanks to our 144K protocols, we are everywhere at once. That's why we take the time that we do to set the stage. Okay, we're reaching Northern Europe, Ukraine, that whole area, China, South Korea, and Japan, and almost at the US-Canadian border. Again, pick an angle, follow, take the occasional glance up at your I am and the heart and feel the guidance, but be willing to do that with kind of like a blank mental state, past, to go past your reference points and the subjective mind. It's where the real secret source is. As we move downwards, racing towards the equator, holding the intent of clearing the first, second, third, and fourth densities of all layers of infrastructure, worlds, in those little spheres within atoms, on the astral plane. And do this to kind of, well, you can literally ask or say to your soul that has this unique soul talents and abilities and purpose on this particular intervention of this full moon. Be aware of that. You don't have to follow just my guidance and that's it. Ask your soul, okay, is there something specific that I need to do or that you need to do through me? And then see what faint, sometimes brief images comes in as we move through these densities of the astral plane. Detach, let go. Through the now, don't think. This is beyond thinking. It's all in the now as you set the intent. Be aware to catch it. This is way beyond the capacities and speed of the left hemisphere brain. I'm just going to be silent for a couple of minutes to allow you to tune in. And it's not a must. Perfectly good to just continue on this expanding walls of incomprehensible transmutational white light, clearing all these four densities of the astral plane, heaviest concentration being on the surface of the darkness and the dark matter, quantum anomaly. Dark consciousness as far as the real amorphous stuff is concerned. But what's your soul trying to show you at the same time? I just want to make sure that that's not ignored in order to honor your unique soul mission that's unique to you. Really sort of, as you continue to observe, detach even more, think deeper into this now moment and respective image. As if you're under a deep hypnosis. As we approach to see what you see per your unique soul talent and purpose. as we're reaching North Africa, or well into the Sahara, Iran, northern India, halfway through China, down into Mexico, astral, clearing everything, the dark matter, atoms holding dark worlds, quantum anomaly, layers of infrastructure, whether it's, again, vertical rods, cones, cubes, spheres, transmute them, watch them turn white and then dissolve. This is as sacred as work gets when it comes to energy work and changing the world. Feel the guidance from your higher self and soul. Really important. And if you think you don't, then pretend that you are, and there you go. Because consciousness is king. All right, reaching the equator. Okay, zoom out a little bit if occasionally to include at least two of the HOD and your I am. You can always see more if you want. I'm just, if that by this point you haven't been able to receive some sort of a faint visual, even if it's brief, one thing you can try is just imagine blackness, or better still, several layers of these cubes or spheres or vertical rods. Seeing them there, several layers of them, and then from your left, if you prefer, this wall of white comes through them and just melts them away. You can try that. Or you can simply feel your soul in your heart, hold your soul and your I am in the background of your consciousness, and just see what your so-called imagination shows you. That's another tool to use if you want. First, second, third, and fourth density of the astral plane, as we're already reaching Southern Africa. Down Latin America to southern Brazil, Chile and Argentina, the northern shores of Australia, racing down. First, second, third, fourth density, racing down. Seeing this beautiful feminine baby blue sphere being birthed, or I guess rebirthed. Hold that relaxed, not trying focus. The occasional glance of the teams in the background. Moving through Australia, southern Argentina and Chile. Heading towards the shores of Antarctica. reaching the shores of Antarctica, which is where you want to go a little beneath the Gaia and look upward, or simply follow whatever your mind's eye, your higher self and soul is already showing you. You have to focus that way to receive the image. Begin to converge now. These big walls of light converging like a bright, shining white ring of light converging against the darkness, leaving the baby blue in the background. Converging, shrinking, the blackness disappearing. And you briefly see kind of like a column or almost like a funnel of white light through the surface of Antarctica, well into the atmosphere, and then that disappears as well. And now see source energy and consciousness represented by waves of magenta immediately emanate outwards from the center of Antarctica, where the white light conversion disappeared, and floating upwards throughout the first, second, third, fourth densities of the astral plane. Upwards all the way up to the North Pole, and then rebounding back again to allow for this kind of like a simulation, integration. And see these upwards moving and then downwards again when it sort of rebounds at the North Pole. Alrighty. So with so much extra light, coming right and existing right throughout the first, second, fourth, and the third densities of the astral plane, See, look at Gaia. Again, pick your color of the quarantine sphere to see this beautiful baby blue color representing omnipresence throughout the first, second, third, and fourth densities of the astral plane. It's the main focus. Just see that there. And now take that glance in the background of the teams, the HOD and your I am up above at a minimum. And just repeat after me till we can finish things off. We're going to go for the real sort of reverse salient. That one thing per your unique soul purpose and task, pre-assigned task at this moment, but one thing that'll just really transform all densities of the astral plane, all the way down to the surface. So repeat after me as you look at this expanse. Gaia in the foreground and the quarantine sphere and themes in the background. Okay. Authentic organic soul. Authentic of soul. I am presence. Authentic HOD and source. Find and show me that one thing throughout all densities of the astral plane that will have the most biggest impact and turn everything around. That will also impact the physical plane in a massive way. And will impact me directly in a way that dissipates pain and fear. And look at the HOD and your I am one more time. Hold that visual. We're going to the foreground. And as you look at them, repeat after me. Show me that one thing that'll turn everything around and impact my daily life in the most profound way, permanently. Transform the astral plane, all relevant densities. Shift your focus back more onto Gaia now. Gotcha. And whatever you see is whatever you see. Again, it'll appear there even as you begin to glance down at Gaia. Just turn it wide. Don't analyze. That is extremely limiting. Hold the white light. This is our last act for the day. Again, change background colors of Gaia in the quarantine sphere if you need to better contrast the white light. Your light. Hold. The transmutation. You don't have to see detail unless it just sort of comes to you. Omnipresence, astral plane, all relevant densities. Predominantly, but not limited to, the surface area. Go beyond your current level of consciousness, your reference points, to go past the subjective mind. You can zoom in if you want, since the thing is now being getting transmuted. Teams in the background. All that occasional glance of teams in the background. What do you see? More infrastructure? Things you can't make out? And if you saw something throughout the whole planet, like I have, she felt that. And pretend, I'll put it this way. Pretend the hard your I am soul over soul is doing it for you. Just give it a go. Omnipresence. I think I felt Gaia there. Go deep as if under deep hypnosis. Allow your soul, oversoul and I am, to come through as you be the silent witness, almost like a spectator. The intent has been set. What hard to describe or understand stuff are you witnessing? All right, as we finish up. Just transmuting some kind of spherical stuff with things dangling out of it. Just bear with me. And just take that glance up at the soul, or feel this direction. Say, are we done? If you feel that you're done. Almost there. Something came up. If you feel done, just look at the teams in the background, at least a couple of them. And just look at them, but go in the foreground, act as if they're continuing to clear stuff. All right, let's all it was just, I don't know if it was organic or, well, it's not organic, it was synthetic, AI created, but there's at least 4 layers of these rough looking dark spheres, but stuff dangling out of them, kind of like tentacles or wormholes. I wasn't sure. 4 layers of it. Throughout the astral plane, maybe 1 each for the first 4 densities, and then a big one appeared in throughout the core of Gaia. So that just had to be dealt with. All right, that's better. Now see, pick I don't know, an enchanting scene on the astral plane. A beautiful, quite often Middle Earth kind of scenery, and just see it light up, move white light throughout it, and see it get brighter and more enchanting looking, I guess, more feminine looking. You may see a castle that's just looking beautiful near a mountaintop, etc. Just enchantment, fairy kind of stuff, fairy princessy kind of stuff. Unicorns and elementals, I guess. Alvin type humans, just that kind of thing. And we're done. Well done, everybody. Another huge, I guess, round of applause. This is just great. And so crucial what we're doing here. It's making such a huge difference. And I want you to feel the love of our inner Earth galactic brethren. The appreciation, immense gratitude and appreciation for what we did here. Now look at one last glance at the teams at the height of your I am, soul, oversoul, etc. You can include more as always. And just look down at Gaia in the quarantine sphere. You can move white light, holding the intent to remove energetic traces, just as an extra thin layer of protection. Again, see it all holographically, the quarantine sphere and Gaia herself, throughout the astral in particular, holographically, in an indigo color, if that works for you to differentiate and easily see the white light that you're moving through, removing all your energetic traces. You were never here. And as always, a huge congratulations, a big salute from our brethren, physical and non-physical, inner Earth or off-world, and terrestrial for that matter. And this full moon, when the dark rituals are at a peak, it was critical to hold our ground and move the light forward. And the exciting part is we still have July ahead of us, where more mass meditation groups will be joining, and we've cleared the way, we've cleared the path for that to have far greater impact, possibly even exponentially. And that's what we're about. Take a deep breath through your nose and return, if you haven't already, your awareness back into your room. And as always, go for a walk or do something simple or enjoyable. And I just want you to really feel the extreme sincerity, the extreme love from all that is, all the way up to source for what you just did. Really feel that. Because it's there and it's real, whether you can feel it or not. Again, just free your mind. As I salute you two, and give you huge amounts of just admiration, adoration, and appreciation, but respect. I hope you can receive that too. And enjoy the rest of your day or night, wherever you are, beloved one, as we keep on compounding the speed of planetary liberation. Because the truth is, no one really knows what year it really is. As Gene Deco said, they've messed up the calendar and what year it is many times. So we're sort of taking advantage of that to, in one sense, energetically speaking, in terms of ascension, we make the decision on what year we want it to be. Let's continue to ascend up to the event, and well done. As always, leave your comment, your experience, your soul's experience in the 144K chat, and hugs all around. Watch your inbox as always, and I will see you all soon. This is your loving servant, the unknown light warrior, closing this physical plane broadcast and intervention. Much love and respect. Talk to you soon, beloved one.